True living Africa. True living Africa.
Welcome, Africa, to True Living Africa. I'm Oyin Talabi.
And I'm Uyok Hansen.
And we're your wellness coaches. How y'all doing? How's the lockdown going?
Oh, man. And luckily what we're talking about today is this problem that has engulfed the nation.
The nation.
This one of the syndromes that have sort of come out of the lockdown, which we're calling COVID-20. I don't mean to make light or make a joke of it, but it's basically, how do you stay indoors next to your pantry that you stocked up and you don't eat everything in under 24 hours? That's, so it's an issue.
Lockdown weight gain. COVID-20. COVID 2020.
COVID 2020. That's the 20 pounds we're going to be coming out of lockdown with. They're going to be attached to your hips, lips, and fingertips.
I like that. Oh, you're rhyming.
I've gone lyrical. It's lockdown stuff.
OMG. So it's been interesting because, yes, a lot of people are putting on weight. And like you said, it's a recipe for weight gain.
Yes,
really,
it is.
Because you're home, minimal movement, food is there. And I mean, Uyok was sharing a story earlier about one of her neighbors whose wife is always cooking now, trying recipes.
We're trying recipes, and that's the honest truth. Like, there are so many things I can make now.
Yeah.
Like, I can make bolognese in 10 minutes flat.
Oh, wow.
To go with any kind of pasta. And I used to think the bolognese sauce was a complicated recipe before, but it's so easy. And that's because I've done it so many times.
That is awesome.
Those kinds of things. And you thought that, maybe blending beans to make moi moi was, such a big deal, but it's really not. You can go through the thing, very quickly.
Oh, wow.
And so,
as much as that's a good thing, so we're learning new skills. Our recipe book is expanding. So watch out for the recipe book by Uyok. So as much as that is expanding and you're trying out new things, there's also the downside of the weight gain. And then, apart from trying out recipes and all, we're locked home. So we're not exercising as much.
There's minimal physical activity.
Some people just need to go outside. Like you had mentioned earlier that you like to work out in groups as well. So not being able to go to the gym, that's something. And then some people, a large majority of us have this connection with food. Particularly when we're depressed, when we're upset, food is what we go to just sort of help us get through that. So comfort eating, there's a lot of comfort eating going on now. And apart from comfort eating, there's just that relationship that a lot of us have that connect food with also boredom.
Right.
It's just something to do.
So it's a lot of emotional eating taking place. First of all, like you said, minimal physical activity and basically eating anything you can lay your hands on is bound to result in weight gain. None of us want that.
Yeah.
And really, it takes more than just self-control to avoid overeating.
Yeah.
And it's key that you pointed out the emotional aspects of it, because people think it's just down to discipline. Or if I can just say to myself that I'm not going to do X, Y, Z. There are a lot of the emotions involved. We have
emotions
boredom.
Are intense. Yeah.
We've got anxiety.
Yeah.
And, when these things happen, then
even joy, when we're happy, we feel we need to eat.
Yes.
And even if we're not eating, we're drinking those empty calories.
Right.
So, we're having a lot of online parties now, virtual parties, but we're drinking.
Right.
As well.
And then don't forget the binge watching TV shows that a lot of us are doing.
Something needs to be going in the mouth as you're doing dinners. That.
And have you noticed that if you take your food, and which is going to be part of the solution that we're going to be offering on, this segment. If you take your food in front of the TV and you start to watch your show, it's almost psychologically, you have to link the amount of food to the length of your show. So
portion control goes out the door.
Oh, absolutely. So if your meal or your snack finishes 15 minutes into the show, you have to go back down, get some more, go back to the kitchen, get some more, so that it can last you to the end. And if it's series, there's a problem.
Yeah.
So just keep eating and eating until you're uncomfortably full. And so these are the things, like I said, no one wants this, and we're here to help with the solutions, right? Here we go.
How are we going to do this? What's the way forward? Well, I think the first thing to do is to identify your trigger. So are you eating emotionally? Is it from an emotional point of view? Is that where your trigger is? Is that what your connection is? Is it comfort eating? Is it anxiety eating?
And with COVID, majority of it is really going to be emotional eating.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing much else that we're doing.
Yeah, but how do we then switch our emotional eating from, instead of eating the banana breads and all the highly processed stuff, to eating more healthier stuff? So, I mean, you could binge on a smoothie.
Right.
I mean, it's not as comforting.
Right.
But you could.
Right. So what it is, before we go into sort of tackling the emotional nuances of, like we did in another show, we talked about how to handle the emotions of being in lockdown. So it's important that you learn how to handle your emotions, first of all, outside of how you're eating.
So share with us again those 4 stages of emotion.
So we talked about the stages of grief and the emotional turmoil that a lot of us are going through, which is, disbelief or denial.
Yeah.
We talked about anger or sadness.
Yeah.
That's anger, and then sadness and depression. Then we sort of transition to acceptance and optimism, right?
Yeah.
So when you're in that anger or depression or sadness stage or anxiety, there's a tendency to grab snacks or meals and eat to comfort ourselves, which really leads to some sort of vicious cycle, because then you don't feel so good about what you've done. There's guilt that's triggered. And then you eat again and then the thing just continues. But creating structure is key to helping you get out of, because knowledge is power.
Yeah.
Knowing what to do, at least from the head point, from your head space, would even help.
Yeah.
As opposed to just not having any way to tackle or deal with this stuff. And the number one thing I'd like to say, and I said before, is how a timetable for me really helps. So preparing meals in advance. People say meal prep, and it sounds a bit ambiguous, but making your meals in advance.
Yeah.
Especially if you resolve to eat healthy meals.
So making your meals in advance starts from making a timetable, which you started off with. Because once you now have your timetable,
you can grocery shop properly.
You now grocery shop properly. So a lot of people go to the store, and because we're going to be at home, then they just buy all the crisps, plantain chips, and biscuits. They buy all of that, all the stuff.
Without really thinking about what they're doing.
Exactly.
And oh, by the way, you don't want to go to the grocery store on an empty stomach.
Yeah, you don't want to go in hungry.
Yes, so that's when those kinds of things tend to happen. And then you throw in all the ice cream and whatnot. You have to remember, if you have a goal or a vision to stay healthy during this period, then you don't want to be picking a few things off the shelf.
Yeah. And we're not saying once in a while is not allowed. It's allowed.
Yeah.
I mean, think 80-20. So 80% of your basket, of your shopping basket, should be healthier stuff.
Healthier stuff, exactly.
Yeah.
And healthy is a spectrum, right? So depending on where you're starting out.
Yeah.
So I'm not asking people to go from ice cream to lettuce overnight, or from fried yam to there's a transition. You could move from fried yam to boiled yam to sweet potato crisps to like that, and just sort of transition to whole grains and stuff, so that if you tend to overeat on certain things, it's not as bad as overeating on sugary, excessively refined stuff.
Yeah.
So I would say, plan your meals in advance so that you can always have something healthy on hand.
Yeah.
Because once hunger strikes,
anything goes. And
something has to be there for you to be able to make a choice, right?
Yeah.
Then another thing I found interesting was don't turn your bedroom into a dining room.
I hate that.
Oh,
I actually hate that.
It happens
I cannot
all the time.
stand eating in the room. I feel like it's like my bedroom is my boudoir.
Sanctuary. Yeah,
it's my sanctuary.
I know. But a lot of people eat in bed, eat with their laptops, with their shows, going on.
Yeah.
And like a lot of people have TVs in their bedrooms, so
that's a big no-no.
Yeah, so they take the food in.
Yeah.
And you're lying down, you're too lazy to get up, and someone is bringing you food, and all of that
breakfast
stuff.
in bed, how romantic.
Right.
No.
So let's try to avoid eating in our bedrooms as much as possible. When it's meal time,
I agree.
Go down or go into your kitchen or to your I like to say go down because I just imagine going downstairs in my, and so go to your eating space, your designated eating space. Everyone have your meals at the table with your, water or whatever. Finish eating and then go do something else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this also follows with having a strict daily schedule.
Yeah.
I say strict because structure is so key. It keeps you sane, doesn't it? Especially when you have a family you're raising. With proper meal times, when you have structure and you eat healthy, guess what? Your productivity goes up.
Yeah.
Your moods
you're more
are
efficient.
Enhanced. Exactly. Your mood is enhanced. And some people don't realize that when you add junk food to the stress that's going on, it makes you feel even worse. It's a temporary relief.
Yeah.
But then you end up,
it impairs your immune system, it impairs your metabolism. So your body is eating all this stuff that it can't generally recognize. So it doesn't know how to process it. It throws your hormones off balance.
Exactly.
And so your concentration goes down.
Right.
Your circulation goes down. So all of that, it's a vicious circle, like you said.
It is.
Before.
And when your mood is impaired, it's harder to deal with stuff as that life is going to throw at you.
Yeah.
You're flying off the handle.
Yeah.
Really quickly. You have a hard time maintaining close relationships.
You have children
you're
around.
You're in a bad mood, and you can't even explain why you're in such a bad mood. Yeah. But it's all that potato chips in your brain.
Yeah.
So it's key that we follow a strict daily schedule, proper meal times.
Yeah.
And all of that. So it's that's key.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very, very key. So apart from, and then another thing to do, because we know that we're all most of us are binge watching TV and all at this point in time. Yeah. Try not to eat while you watch TV.
Okay, so I'll take that a step further because I tried that. Didn't work.
Okay.
So again, it's a spectrum. So I'm not going to go from, so at first they're like, okay, we're going to do this big lasagna, with lots of cheese and oh my goodness, like 1,000 calories a plate, and you go through 6 plates of those because you're watching what's that number one show in Nigeria again? I can't even remember. But anyways, what I think people could do if they can't do without eating is to create healthier alternatives to their movie dinners. So I'll give you an example. I've discovered kale chips.
Okay, so that's a nice snack.
Yes, but it's actually nice.
Yeah, I know kale chips.
Even carrot chips.
Yeah. Chips are good. Healthier chips are good. The challenge with eating while you're watching TV, which you pay attention to. So I'm not saying that I don't eat anything while I'm watching TV. Mindless eating. And the fact that when you're mindlessly eating, you tend to not chew properly. So you're taking in a lot of air. You're not macerating your food in saliva, and that's where digestion actually starts. So if you're going to be eating, if you have to eat while you're watching your shows, healthier snacks. So try not to eat the meal itself as much as you can. Try not to eat a full meal itself, because you'll end up most likely not chewing properly. And you end up, like you said earlier, eating more. And your full signal goes off. Your satiety signal goes off. And why I agree with you is, it's different when it's lunchtime and you decide that TV has to go with lunch. That's a huge no-no, yes. Or TV has to go with dinner. So that's where the problem really starts, because then dinner is the proper meal, isn't it? Yeah. And so you're watching TV, you've got it on, and you're eating dinner, you're taking it down with all the air and everything you mentioned, and suddenly one plate isn't enough because now you're mindlessly eating. Yeah. But if you set out intentionally to watch an interesting show and you want something to sort of accompany that show, then you can look at your healthier snacks, right? Or a drink. You can have a drink. A drink might be something. It will have less calories, hopefully, than if it's not a martini. Your low-fat Greek yogurt, for instance, or even if it's something like a cup of hot chocolate, right? So I do that. I don't know about green tea while I'm watching a movie, but wow. Let me tell you something. And when you speaking about drinks, drinking lots of fluid is one of the ways you can stem the wave of COVID-20. Drinking lots of fluid. We really underestimate how much water can take up space in our stomachs. Yeah. But I know that green tea sounds gross, but I discovered green tea in lockdown. Oh wow. I'm not even I've had packs of it before. Discoveries. Yes, one of my COVID discoveries, or lockdown discoveries. I've had green tea on and off. I'll throw it away. I would give it out. I'm like,
I really don't see. I know the research, the jury is in, it makes sense, but then I never thought it was for me.
It was like,
yes.
Maybe not.
But now with all the experimentation with immune boosters, I'm doing the green tea with the lemon and ginger. And what else am I adding in there? Oh, I've also discovered apple cider vinegar. Like, it's there. I've always had it.
But not necessarily... But it wasn't part of your daily routine
every day because it's such a great detox drink.
Yeah.
And so I put it and I drink it cold. I put it in the freezer. So after I've done the green tea mix in a jar, I put it in the freezer. It gets really cold, and then I mix in the apple cider vinegar.
I've tried it cold. I'll try that.
Because hot is you can't do hot. It's too much.
Because the aroma I would typically take my herbal teas.
Right. Warm. It's the ACV. That's the problem when it's in a warm drink. That's the vinegar because it's pungent, and then the steam makes it. So if you have a problem with the smell of it, then you can try it. Yeah,
I'll try that.
You can try it cold. So I drink a lot of that, and I found out that when I started to drink a lot of green tea, at first it was nauseating.
Okay.
But I found out that over time it brought my appetite down. It
definitely does that.
It suppressed my appetite, which works.
Yeah.
And then obviously it's an immune system boost, which is great. So through the day, I can go through 5 to 6 cups of dairy-free tea, moringa, lemon
turmeric
tea.
and black tea.
Yes.
I have this mix of soursop leaves that we do. So we just brew it up and just drink that during the day, or I do lemon and water. So drinking all those liquids definitely keep you full during the day. It's definitely helped me.
Yes.
Definitely. I know, definitely. And then another thing that's helped is exercise.
Right.
No doubt. Exercise has definitely
You can't take
helped.
out exercise from the weight gain equation.
Yeah.
Find a way to do it.
Yeah.
If it's 5,000 steps, start there. If it's 2,000 steps, start there.
Yeah.
But count your daily steps.
Yeah, you have to move.
Okay.
You have to move.
And
there are a lot of videos online that you can connect with on YouTube, on Instagram, loads of exercise videos that you can do. There are a lot of trainers that are offering online group classes. So if you want to exercise in that group setting,
right,
you can still sort of get a group feel
and find something that works for you.
But
just keep trying.
Yeah.
Don't give up. You will find a great balance that works for you and your family.
Yeah.
To stem the tide.
The tide
of the weight gain during lockdown.
Yeah. Very good. And then important, you need to get your rest, get your sleep, and stay as stress-free as you can. So, check out all our other episodes that we've talked about how to manage your stress levels and mental balance and all. But those are all things that add up. Because if you're stressed, then your body's releasing cortisol, and then your body is feeling like, your body actually
holds on to the fat.
It holds on to the fat. It doesn't allow your digestion is not as on top as it should be. And so all of these things, it's a vicious cycle.
Right.
It's a vicious cycle that we just need to pay attention to. So don't feel bad with yourself if you have put on weight. Just,
start from somewhere.
Accept the worst. Okay, I've put on weight. My clothes don't fit. What's the way up now?
Yeah.
And then start to work your way from there very gradually. Start with everything we've said about food, and then introduce the exercise. Try not to do both at the same time. So
don't incorporate, don't try to rush it.
Exactly. Don't introduce food on the same day, cutting out food on the same day you start exercising. It becomes too much. And then just gradually build your way up.
Okay.
Like that.
Absolutely. Those are great tips, and they should help me, you, our audience, and our viewers. And that's it. We're going to be wrapping that up now.
Yeah.
And thanks for listening in, guys.
Thank you for joining us.
I hope this really helps with stemming the wave of the lockdown weight gain. You don't want that. We don't want that. We want you to stay safe and stay healthy.
Yes.
Tune in to at True Living Africa. Africa Business Radio
on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. And also, www.africabusinessradio.com. Okay, guys, see you soon.
Take care.